I'm super excited about this whole new creative project of making a video. Wow! I'm happy for you to join. I was reminded of The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell that said that we should follow our bliss. And when I thought about the past years, I realized that my bliss was really to be creative and to discover this creative recipe. And part of my bliss and magic was to share this with other people and share the recipe with you. So it's not about teaching you something that you don't know. It's literally to remind you that you are creative and that you've actually been creative all this while. You just didn't realize that was creativity. So I reflected over this past years, and I would really like to give you a short summary of this work that I've been doing and share with you the essence of the expressive art therapy magic. So, in showing you this work, I need to tell you that creativity is not necessarily what you find in galleries only and buying tickets for shows or musicians that can entertain people and sell records. It is actually an energy. It is part of our daily lives, and it can be anything from, like Edward de Bono said, designing a toothpaste cap to Beethoven writing his Fifth Symphony. So it's literally opening up, a pulsation, a rhythm, a movement, and a tension between different things. There is also the fact that creativity is all possibilities. It's when you come up against limits. It is when you make mistakes and find a new way. It is really how we express ourselves in our daily lives. So, what creativity is when we measure it was found to be how creative are you with yourself? How do you dress? How do you cook? How do you garden? Do you break boundaries and rules? Do you have humor? Expressions and telling of stories, naming of things is very creative. Fantasy life is extremely creative. That's happening in your mind. So once you realize that creativity is much more than just the outcome that we sometimes see, we realized how important that is. So the ancient people thought of creativity as a healing ointment. When you got sick, you would go to the healer and the healer would ask you, when last did you sing? When last did you dance? Did you tell stories? When last did you sit in silence around the fire? And there you need to go back, do those things to find healing and balance for your soul. So a lot of people needs convincing of that. But the fact is, certain studies show that 98% of all people are born creative. That is, when you are 3 to 5 years old, you are engaged in creative activities. And unfortunately, the older you get, the less creative people are. Until you're adults, only 2% of us are still expressing our creativity. Why come? Only because we're not encouraged. We don't see the real creativity that's going on, and we're not encouraged to explore and play with it. So, I've had the privilege to teach people the past 10 years in different kind of workshops to regain that playfulness, regain that ability to explore and to just move with it. And that's the essence of what I would like to tell you now. So, the first step is very simple. It is to choose to create from point zero. And there's two places where we can create from. Either our left brain, where we know where we're going, we know what we would like to achieve, and we have a specific end product in mind. Or we can create from the right brain, where there's no expectations, no man-made rules, nothing to guide us except our intuition and our connection and our willingness to really feel deeply. So that's what we need to know. We need to know that we can step out of what we expect into a process where there's actually no guidelines and where anything is possible. Now this applies not only to expressive arts or visual stuff on paper, it applies to movement, to cooking, to writing, to whatever you do. If you stand in front of your cupboard wondering what I need to wear today, what am I putting together, that is a creative act. So give yourself permission and the time and the space to explore and learn to feel what it feels like to drop in. And how we do that the easiest is to drop into our body and breath. So just where you are right now, feel how you're breathing. Feel your bum on the chair, in my case, your fingers, your posture. Now you're feeling how your right brain is engaging with connecting to your body and to your surroundings. So that's what I'm talking about. Breath. Sometimes it's necessary to close your eyes to really check in. It's much easier to feel your body. And then we want to move. Start slowly to moving from that place of silence. Maybe it's just your fingers, small movements, your wrists, or it can be a whole body movement to start moving. You can do this on silence or to music. So that helps us to really let go of the thinking mind and drop into what is happening right now. And when you lose that awareness and you connect to really what's happening here, you start creating from that place of no judgment, no ideas of is it right or is it wrong. You can move towards your art material, and this you can either prepare beforehand or you can just in the moment think, what do I feel like doing now? Is it with the colors? Is it with paint? Is it with movement? Is it with poetry? And then, without losing the connection to your breath, to your body, you start exploring your art material. And sometimes it's nice to even do it with closed eyes, with beginner's mind, with anything goes. So you use all your senses of feeling, of smelling, of really connecting in a new way, and with the movements the whole time. So, one movement at a time. Don't plan the end product. Stay with what's happening right now. And if this movement, this line, this color is what you really want to connect to immerse yourself in whatever's happening right now, then that move will lead you to the next and the next, so that in the end you have something that is totally unexpected. And you will feel when it's okay to stop. A handy thing is sometimes to ask yourself, am I stopping because of what I'm thinking, or can I still go on? Notice what's happening in your mind. Notice the creative blocks, the thinking, and we'll go through the creative blocks just now. Be aware of them and challenge yourself to let that go, stay with breath, stay with movement, and lose yourself in what is happening right now. So the fourth step is then to go to another medium. And what's really nice about this is that the sky's the limit in terms of media, whether it's taking photographs or writing or storytelling or movement or lying down on the grass. It's to really change and do more and more, while the whole time staying connected with your breath and with what is going on in this moment. And you can do this as long as you have time for, as many media as you have time for. If you have a little space of 5 minutes, you can doodle and write down a few words. So, this is based on the work mainly of Natalie Rogers, and she wrote The Creative Connection for groups, and it's really fascinating to get into the theory. Let's quickly have a look at the creative blocks, because for such a long time we've been programmed to be careful, of not looking like a fool, of not trying stuff, and our ego mind is there to protect us, so it won't go away suddenly. Notice what's happening, notice the critical voice, and then you just say, I'm going to try in any case. I'm going to explore a bit more. I know this sounds a bit silly, but I would like to explore it more. So what would be the first creative block is that you just don't know what you feel like right now. So any mind-body practices, getting you in touch with your own body, is absolutely fantastic. The inner critic is a big one. It started out as someone else's voice, maybe a parent, maybe a teacher or a sibling, but now it's your own voice. So just notice that one, and it's actually there to protect you, to make you not look like a fool. Say thank you, but I'll try. So the next block is fear of failure. We really want to succeed. So if you give yourself some time to play around and to fail and throw everything in the dustbin, it's okay. We can bypass that by experience. We also have a need for approval from others. So that whole thing of deciding that I like the process and that it's more important than what the end product looks like and do I get likes, it's a big one that we all need to challenge. Our fear of the unknown. We would like to know that everything we do is a great success. But that almost always stands in the way of real creativity. So if we put that aside, we can just go with the process and be surprised often. Michelle Cassou talks about the dragons to creativity. It's another way of saying it. So there's a dragon of product that we hooked into whatever end product we have. We have a dragon of control. We always want to stay in control. Or there's a dragon of meaning, that everything we do needs to be meaningful and say something, or, be meaningful to others. And once we see those dragons, we can just sidestep them. So, the proof of the pudding is actually in the eating. Yeah? So if this little recipe can apply to you, I am going to invite you to just play around with it and start out with just what you have. So I have a little suggestion for a short session, and whatever art material you have, get it ready and give yourself some space. Maybe you decide to do it on music or off music. I like to sometimes just put on random music on my player so that I'm really surprised and can move to that. Then take time to connect to your body, to your breath. If it's one song, if it's two songs, you really want to stay connected to yourself and your whole body. Enjoy that kind of free movement. And once you're really connected with the movement, you move to the art material. Staying connected with what's happening right now on the paper, on the whatever you choose to do. So only one movement at a time, not planning the big thing. And I can challenge you to take whatever you have at the moment in your drawers, whether it's Kokies or pencils or crayons, if it's big paper or small paper. Just see what you have and lose yourself in the feeling and the making and the doing if it's doodles. When that part feels done, I invite you to go to another medium, often writing. So just do some free writing, and in follow-up videos I can give you some more tips on these specifics. But just go to something else. Take a pencil and write. Or take another medium if you have time, without stopping in between to analyze or think. And then you choose a title for your work when you feel done, and you step back and decide whether you want to share it with someone or others, or is it just a process for you to enjoy. And that is the simple recipe that we can have. Bypass a lot of creative blocks, and many people have told me over the years that they didn't ever realize it's so simple and were absolutely flabbergasted by the results. So, I hope this will inspire you and make you notice where you have been very creative in your life before. And it was a joy to put all this together, and let me know in the comments or by dropping me an email how this is for you, and whether there's any other topics that you would like in future for us to share